Okay, let's settle in. Let's close our eyes. And if you're sitting upright, feel your back stretch a little bit taller, your head feel like it's filled with helium and lifting lightly off of the shoulders, providing space between the vertebrae without force, just lightness. And as you exhale, just relax all the tensions of the day. Release any thoughts about things that have come before and what might be coming later on or the next day or the next week. The future does not exist. The only thing that exists is this moment right here. And this moment is constantly changing. So let's be present and aware and honor this moment because it's the only moment you're ever going to experience. Everything that you've ever experienced has always happened just in the now. And notice that none of those things are still happening. None of the things that you think might happen in the future have happened yet. They are not currently happening. So anything that isn't right in your direct experience right now is only a figment of your imagination. It's just a wandering thought. So as we meditate, it's okay for those wandering thoughts to float through the space of your mind and then float back out again. Just notice if you find any stickiness, like you are adhering to those thoughts as they float past, binding them to you, holding them closer, hugging them, grasping them, feeling like you are synonymous with them. And if you notice yourself doing that, it's okay. Just let them go again, relax, and come back to the sensations of the breath. So to begin with, place your attention at the tip of your nose and see if you can feel the sensation of breath as it enters the nostrils. Notice if you can sense the temperature of the air. Does it differ between the in-breath and the out-breath? Does one feel warmer or cooler than the other? Keep your attention there at the tip of the nose as you feel the different sensations of breath moving past the skin. Would you describe it as a tingling, a buzzing, a fluttering, a vibration, a current? No matter how you describe it, it's all fine. The descriptions don't really matter. We're just interested in the raw experience of sensation. If thoughts start becoming sticky and pulling you away, again, just let them go and allow them to float through your mind, leaving that period of emptiness in which you can direct your awareness back to the sensations at the tip of the nostrils. Notice how it is that you can tell the difference between an inhalation and an exhalation just by paying attention to the sensations at the tip of the nose. How is it that those sensations differ? Are you noticing other sensations deeper in the body, like the expansion of your lungs or your belly, or feelings of internal pressure or pull, or contractions and pushing, in order to determine whether the breath is coming in or out? Notice if you have a very subtle mental overlay that is like an image in your mind of the breath moving in and out of the body. You might even see a picture of your body somewhere floating in space in your mind. And that body might be visibly inhaling and exhaling. It's okay if any of these images are there. It's okay if any of these images are not there. Just become aware of the clues of your experience that tell you whether you are inhaling or exhaling. While you're checking inside the body to see if you are noticing feelings of contraction or expansion, notice if there are any differences in those sensations in the body between an inhalation and an exhalation. Notice if you feel tension or relaxation, perhaps more energy or a letting go, depending on whether the breath is entering or exiting the body. You find that an inhalation brings a little bit more vitality to the body, seems to wake you up or send a little extra burst of sensation throughout the extremities, perhaps creating more tension in the torso or the back, perhaps even a feeling of fullness in the hands and the feet. You may or may not experience any of these things. Just get curious. Again, just noticing the difference when you inhale, what changes. Now let's shift focus to the exhalations. Notice every time you exhale, what happens in the body? Do you feel the muscles release? Do you feel a slight sense of relief or calm? Maybe a micro burst of relaxation. Even notice if you suddenly feel sleepy for a split second before the next inhalation begins. Again, it's okay if you notice or do not notice any of these things. These subtle changes of expansion and contraction, of invigoration and relaxation are happening every few seconds all throughout the day. And mostly we are unaware of this. But by becoming aware of it, we can notice changes in the body and our mental states, and even actively use these changes to our benefit. If you are feeling very tired, either during a meditation session or throughout other parts of your day, if you take a series of breaths and notice which is longer, the inhalation or the exhalation, if you intentionally make the exhalation shorter than the inhalation, you will feel much more awake, much more invigorated. So taking a series of breaths with long inhalations and short exhalations will wake you up, at least for a little while. And conversely, if you are feeling stressed out or anxious or hyper, then doing just the opposite, taking relatively short inhalation and a very long exhalation will relax the nervous system, calm the mind and the body. So these tools are always there for you to use. There's so much power to emotional regulation when we just come back to the breath. The way we breathe tells us what state our body and mind are in. When we panic, we breathe shallow and fast. And when we're relaxed, we breathe slow and deep. This happens involuntarily, but breathing is one of the few systems that we can also control willingly. So anytime you feel like you need to change the state of your nervous system, you need to change the state of your mind, you can just change the breath. And the breath is always with you. So during your meditation sessions or during your life out in the world, when an emotion arises, get curious about it and tune into the body. If it's something that we would classically call a negative or painful emotion, they aren't really, but so that we're talking about something the way that most people experience them. Emotions like sadness or fear, anxiety, anger, loneliness, worry, immediately come into the body and do two things. First, be aware of the breath and how it is manifesting alongside this emotion. Is the breath getting past your throat? Is it making its way into your chest? Is it making its way into your belly? How far does it stop? Don't judge it. Don't force anything. Just to begin with, observe it and notice how it changes as soon as that mood or that emotion is felt. And then notice if there's something of a feedback loop where the feeling of shallow, rapid breathing or contracted breathing sends more signals to the mind that there is something unpleasant here. Perhaps you're in danger, or perhaps you just don't like the sensation. Again, it's perfectly okay to be there. Just be aware of this natural phenomena happening, like you're an observer from a scientific study group, and you're just observing what's happening with a calm detachment, because it's not you that it's happening to. You're just witnessing these strange bodily sensations and phenomena. And then along with changes in the breath, notice any other bodily sensations that seem to arise with any given emotion. Ask yourself where you feel that emotion in the body. It might be somewhere in the head or the face or the throat or the neck. You might feel it through your shoulders or in the upper part of the chest or the sternum or diaphragm, or perhaps in different parts of the belly, maybe down the spine. Perhaps you even notice tension or relaxation in the arms, the hands, the legs, the feet. Take it all in and get curious how you know what emotion you're feeling right now. There are probably thoughts about some event, and there's probably a feeling that you know what this is about, and you just recognize this emotion because you've had it before. But get very curious about the emotion. What is an emotion? An emotion is a thought adhered to a sensation. And it's something that has happened over and over again throughout your lifetime, so that when you feel these two things, the sensations and the thought about the sensations, it becomes labeled as a known emotion and felt to be real, but it's not. So when you feel an emotion, especially ones that you would rather not feel, but you can do this one with pleasant, happy emotions as well, just to be fair. Simply go into the body and recognize, again, with that scientific dispassion, how it is that you are identifying this particular emotion. Even if the sensations are unpleasant, perhaps there's tension or contraction, tingling or bubbling or burning or prickly sensations, anything that you feel, just notice that without labeling them as that emotion, without creating a story about them, is it okay to just let them be there? Can you provide the space for those emotions as felt sensations to simply be? They're not you. You aren't properly even experiencing them. They're just simply there. Can you be okay with that, even just for a moment? What's there is simply sensation. What's there is simply thought. And it's only happening right now in this very safe present moment. You can touch these emotions because it's perfectly safe to feel a feeling in the body. It's perfectly safe to feel a sensation just arising, just being for a moment and then passing on its own. And of course, you can get curious with positive sensations, positive emotions, feelings of joy, love, peacefulness, relaxation, and recognize how those sensations appear in the body. Do you perhaps feel a sense of expansion, lightness, calm, effervescence, neutrality? See what you experience in the moment. Remember that no matter what you feel, whether it's painful or pleasant, light or heavy, it's only sensation. We're always just putting a value judgment on it after the fact. So can you be present with anything that arises and simply allow it to be for the brief space where it materializes and then passes away? Any time throughout the day, you always have these sensations at your fingertips. You can always tune in moments of difficulty or moments of joy and ease and become aware of what's happening in the body. If you find that the breath is constricted and shallow, and you're feeling a mood that is unpleasant or contrary to your best health in that moment, gently attempt to deepen the breath, slow it down, increase the inhalations, and then increase the exhalations. For some people, counting the seconds of each breath helps. Even making sure that the exhalation is twice as long as the inhalation can be very therapeutic for some people. If that feels too rigid or structured for you, that's okay also. Just try to feel that the exhalation is somewhat longer than the inhalation. And you'll probably feel the change in the body immediately. You can always come back to this safe place of relaxation, particularly after the end of the exhalation. Notice if there's a moment of silence, a pause before the next inhalation begins, and see if you can feel that calm openness. See if that calm coolness can extend even into the next inhalation and exhalation. Allow that gentle quietude to expand and settle the mind and the body. If thoughts come through your mind, just notice that they don't actually touch that open space of silence. That quiet presence is there all the time, regardless of the physical sensations in the body or the thoughts wandering through and wandering away. Recognize that you can find that quiet silence at any moment, day or night, at the end of every single breath. Whenever you're ready, you can bring your attention back into the body, into the feeling of your feet on the ground, your legs on your seat, the feelings of your back gently erect, the feelings of your head still floating somewhere above the shoulders. And you can slowly start to move the body in whatever way it feels it needs. Bringing life back to the extremities, bringing your awareness back to the feelings of the body, and again, this present moment. And taking all the time you need, when you're ready, open your eyes.